Hey guys, Moogle847 back again, and yeah, welcome to my new place. This is where me and my girlfriend live now. And yeah, while I will miss my great wall that was back here, that's totally fine. That place is trying to have problems, so I'm actually glad to be back. So, and yes, I do plan on doing a few other things, and oh yes, I am extremely excited for the Nintendo Switch. Believe me, as soon as I get that thing, we're gonna have a review on it. Anyway, so I've decided that I need to do a special review thing for the fact that I'm come back. And I figured, what better way to do any comeback than to talk about one of the greatest comeback stories of Nintendo, and that is the Metroid Prime trilogy. Now, I am not going to actually talk about the Metroid Prime trilogy game. I am actually going to talk first about Metroid Prime 1. So, brief bit of history. After 1994, roughly a year after Super Metroid had come out, the world was shocked as I will spit his name out, as Mr. Gunpei Yokoi, the longtime series creator of Metroid, as well as the Game Boy and Nintendo's greatest failure, the Virtual Boy. But yeah, Wii U did not get anywhere near that bad. But after his passing, we then ended up with Nintendo trying to figure out what to do with Metroid, and there were talks of a Metroid 64, but it never happened. And the only time we actually got to see 3D Samus was when we got to a game called called Super Smash Brothers, which featured Samus Aran as one of the fighters. And believe me, we were very happy with this. Trust me, she's even become one of my favorite fighters through all the games, well, except for Brawl, but that's because of the stupid mechanic they added in. And unfortunately, it's also the case for the fact that even though she's fixed in Smash Brothers for Wii U 3DS, as soon as I got to play Cloud, it's like, yeah, he's become my favorite. Go figure. Anyway, so, but like I was saying, or at least before I got off topic, so Nintendo didn't have any ideas, and all through the Nintendo 64 there was no Metroid, and nobody understood why. Believe me, a lot of the fans hated it. So when the Nintendo GameCube was coming out, a lot of us were like, okay, well, we'll see what happens with this. Excuse me. And even with Nintendo doing a tech demo showing Samus running down a corridor with a bunch of monsters behind her, and all of us were sitting there going, okay, where's our new Metroid? And we didn't get it. Or we didn't get it immediately. However, this little studio called Retro Studios, which happened to be one of the two studios that came out of Iguana, which made the Turok series, they ended up deciding to take on the mantle, or at least take on the responsibility of doing Metroid. So we sat down and watched Metroid. Only problem is, we ran into a situation with, or they ran into a situation in development where they couldn't get it to completely move exactly the way they wanted it, or to get it to feel enough like Metroid, especially in 3D, because they were trying to make it a first-person shooter and less of an adventure game, and couldn't get the platforming elements right. Well, Shigeru Miyamoto, the guy that made Mario and Zelda, came up to them. They looked at what they were doing, and they said, okay, you know what? Why don't you do this? Sorry, nighttime. They said, why don't you do this? Why don't you go ahead and put in my Z target lock system from Legend of Zelda and see how that works. As soon as they did that, everything fit. They then were able to add a few more mechanics, like you can now scan things and get bits of the story or understand enemy weaknesses. And then, the basic controls were all the buttons were mapped out. So you moved around with a joystick. Your L button was target. Your R button was aim. Your Z button was your map. X button made you go into morph ball. Y button was your missiles. A button was fire. B was shoot. And then your directional pad allowed you to switch your visors. So you could get thermal vision and x-ray vision and your scan visor. And then your joystick made it so you could switch your weapons. And by switch weapons, I mean, your beams no longer were stacked, but you could actually flip them on the fly without having to go to a separate screen, like you did in Super Metroid. So this was a really big improvement, and they made a lot of good advancements, especially with the power-ups, and even changed up a lot of stuff. Now, one thing that was left out that a lot of people weren't happy about was them leaving out the screw attack. Believe me, it was coming. So, like I said, the basic story for this, Samus gets a distress call and goes to another planet, and that would be my girlfriend's brother. But she gets a distress call and goes to this orbital station above a planet called Talon 4. While they're there, they end up she ends up finding that the pirates are investigating this new power source called Phazon, which they found an abundance of on Talon 4 from a crashed meteor. And believe me, it leads to a lot of good stuff. I don't want to spoil it all because you guys should play this. Trust me. Now, main differences between the Wii U and the GameCube versions. Besides a few graphic pieces pulled back, the fact that they made it so that you could actually aim freely as opposed to having to hold a button to aim, which does help, as well as the fact that you can do spring ball after you've gotten bombs. So that's always cool. But another thing they did in this game that was really neat was one of the visuals is that since this is a first-person game that has a lot of platforming, you are actually inside Samus's visor. So you run through some water, you're seeing water trickling down. You go through a vapor or a thing of vapor shooting out, you get moisture on the screen, on the visor. You go up and you shoot too close to the wall. In the dark spot, you will see a glare on her, with a reflection of her face. So that was really cool. And they even had moments where you'll be sitting there in like an elevator, and you'll see her eyes still behind the visor, which was really neat. It actually gave you the idea that this is a woman in the suit. So like I said, they did a good job of doing this game. And I mean, granted, I didn't think of the game too well a long time till my brother came up and said, "Hey, you've got to try this." So I tried it and fell in love with it. But the Metroid Prime series is fantastic. The Wii version is really good. So I mean, you'll be hearing Samus grunting, groaning, and doing whatever. But like I said, it really is. You are Samus. And that is something that the Super Nintendo games couldn't do. Or even the Nintendos. Or any of the ones that have come back since. So like I said, Metroid Prime. Fantastic game. And the nice thing is, it feels like Super Metroid. And plus, hey, one of the new environments, you're actually running through snow. And oh yes, a lot of enemies are back. A lot of familiar monsters that you kill are back. And you also get to try out, or you get to hear a lot of good music, including a few tunes that are remixed from before. And like I said, it really is. You play this, and you're like, this is Metroid. Metroid successfully made the transition to 3D. That is awesome. But anyway, and that would be the dog. So, like I said, guys. I cannot wait to do more of these. So hopefully next week, here on Monday, we should have Metroid 2 or Metroid Prime 2, which is Metroid Prime 2. Shoot, I suddenly forgot the name. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Sorry, spaced on me. Alrighty. Well, hey guys, I will talk to you on the next one. Take care.